to the merger proposal. Paul?
Well, a strong four-session rally went by the boards today, and let's have a look at the closing averages, and we see the Dow Industrials off 20.5 points, the biggest loss in, since mid-January. Transports and utilities, however, just down fractionally, and then a little larger losses in the broadly based indexes you see at the bottom of your screen. Trading volume today down 8.25 million shares from yesterday's pace. Down volume did exceed up volume by some 61 million shares, however. And 687 closed higher, 1,001 lower, yet 362 new highs in this down market and only 42 new lows. Topping the active list on 2.8 million shares, American Telephone down 3/4, followed by Panhandle Eastern Pipeline down 1/4. Then Johnson & Johnson dropped 1 1/4. Some negative comments about its recovery potential after the tragedy, the Tylenol tragedy. Those comments in the Herd on the Street column in today's Journal. Baxter Travanel Labs moved up 5/8. IBM number 5 in volume, down 1 3/8. Texaco lost 7/8, just about what it gained yesterday. Southern Company off 1/4. Pacific Gas and Electric edged up 1/8. So did Bank America. And number 10 in big board volume, Merrill Lynch, losing 1/4. Among widely held issues, H.F. Amundsen, the largest savings and loan holding company in the country, down 3 3/4, but it's had a big rise recently. But Volcker's comments about interest rates hurt the thrift industry stocks in general. Celanese down 10 points. It was up just about that much yesterday. Some profit-taking evident. Chrysler up 1 1/8, bucking the trend. The company had a very upbeat meeting with security analysts in Savannah, Georgia today, although Chrysler chairman Lee Iacocca said that estimates of $15 a share earnings this year on the pre-split shares was a bit too aggressive. Coca-Cola down 1 1/2, even though it reported fourth quarter earnings up 45% from last year. But there were rumors around late in the day the company might make a bid for privately held Dr. Pepper. General Dynamics down 3 3/4. All this talk about cutting the budget in the defense area specifically hurt General Dynamics. It met with security analysts and they came away with a negative thought or two. General Motors down 7/8, and F.W. Woolworth losing 3 5/8. It's had a huge gain over recent weeks, profit-taking there. L.E. Myers Company's up 1 1/8. We talked to officials of the company. They couldn't account for the strength. The company's in the business of making transmission systems for utilities. Harris Graphics up 1 3/8. It couldn't account for the strength in its stock. I would remind you, however, that arbitrager Ivan Boesky late last year acquired about 8.4% of the stock. No word from him today either. Scheller Globe moved up 1 1/4 points. General Felt has boosted its buyout offer from $43 to $46.50 a share. On the downside, Intera down 1 1/8. The company, of course, is in the oil drilling equipment field, and that is not the greatest field to be in these days. International Minerals and Chemical down 2 1/8. The company lowered its own earnings estimates for 86 and also slashed its dividend by 62% to 25 cents quarterly now. And Northrop dropped 2 points after an analyst at the Prudential Bates brokerage cut its 86 earnings estimates. Over the American exchange, just a loss of 0.39, not too bad there. Trading volume down about 1 million shares from yesterday's pace. Losers led advancers by a 3-2 margin. Topping the active list on 3/4 million shares. Dome Petroleum, no change. Wang Labs backing off 3/8. Data Products moved up 1/8 along with Omdal. And then Sterling Software, number 5 in curb volume, up 1/2. Sterling Extruder up 2 3/4 points. The company has received a $23.50 a share cash buyout bid from Baker Perkins. Adams Russell up 2 points on news that Continental Cablevision has increased its ownership of the stock to 8% for investment purposes. And Nichols Institute down 1 point. LF Rothschild Brokerage cut its first quarter earnings estimate. Over-the-counter trading after unbelievably 12 straight sessions of new highs, a little loss, 0.27. Trading volume up about 11 million shares from yesterday's pace and only 53 more issues down than up. NASDAQ 100 index off nearly 2 1/4 points. Glaxo Holdings led the active list, no change. Jaguar moving up 7/32. Apple Computer up 1 1/8. The company said no news announcements today. Intel lost 1/2. Intergraph down 5/8. Integrated Device Technology gained 1/2, and Apollo Computer down 3/4. It introduced some new computer workstations, but apparently some analysts didn't think too much of them. Philadelphia Savings Fund Society edged up 1/8, while MCI lost 1/8. Network Systems up 5/8. Electrocatheter up 3 points. The FDA has approved one of the company's new cardiac assist products. Lotus Development up 2 points. The company says it'll buy 1,650,000 of its own shares in the open market. And Stater Brothers down 1 point. The company suspended one of its chief financial officers pending an investigation. Well, the sharp 15.7% rise in January housing starts shook the foundations of the bond market early today, but a brief rally ensued when Treasury Secretary Baker said he'd like to see interest rates go lower. The upturn was abruptly undercut, however, by Fed Chief Volcker's comments overall, and the bond prices closed moderately lower, but the sell-off was rather orderly. Let's look at the long-term Treasuries of 2016, a loss of only 3/32. An 8-point loss in the American Telephone Corporates, but the Dow Jones 20 Corporate Bond Index moved up 0.31. These Jacksonville Electric Revenue Municipals losing 1/4, And finally, Fed funds dropped below 8% all day long. That's our Wall Street wrap-up. Linda?
Thanks, Paul.